Do I consider myself old? I feel like a teenager, except when it rains. My name is Ravine, and I guess I'll be honest, I just celebrated my 79th birthday. The secrets of a long and happy life. Don't envy other people, because you never know what problems you're not seeing that they have, and you think their life is perfect. It's not so. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, or so it seems. Long life is try to stay healthy. I'd like to live at least until 90, because grandchildren, children are getting married later, grandchildren are having babies later, and I would like to be a great grandma, and that won't happen until I'm 90. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, 79 years ago. I lived in Brooklyn 2 or 3 times, and I lived on Miami Beach a couple of times in between. Probably, my first conscious memory probably was being given a piggyback, I think, by my father. Life back then was very simple. What's for dinner? What are we going to play? What game? Go to school, come home. Very simple. Visit relatives. Lots of visiting relatives. And today, nothing is simple. I don't like to sound frivolous, or I enjoyed going to steeplechase in Coney Island and going on rides. And to this day, if there's a merry-go-round, I will ride it. I don't think I was ever encouraged to be anything other than a wife and a mother, and that was not fulfilling enough for me. So I started thinking about something other than that. After I was divorced twice, and after I was divorced the first time, I had the opportunity to go to college as an adult, and that's when it started. When I was a child, I probably wanted a lot of things that I didn't get, and I'm glad that I lived this long so that I could pretty much have anything I want. It's what's important, more important in life, friends or family, is subjective. If you have a crummy family, then you reach out and hopefully you have good friends. And it's subjective. It's not, I can't say one is more important than the other. Ideally, you should have a good family first. To be non-judgmental of others, always have a sense of humor, and to be fair-minded, I guess. I would think prejudice. I have only one regret, and I may have mentioned it earlier, and that is that I didn't have the time to pursue my dream, my ultimate goal, which was to earn a PhD in psychology. Recently, I got into a conversation with someone who owns a music school, and I said back when I was a teenager, I wanted to play the drums, and I was told girls don't play drums, and he offered me a free lesson just so I could get it out of my system. That's probably the only thing that I really had a passion for at some point in time and didn't pursue. I think the happiest times of my life probably are thinking back to when I spent time with my grandchildren when they were growing up. Babysitting with them and just silly things that we did together. When I moved down here 18 years ago, I would go up north every winter for a week in the freezing cold to babysit my two grandchildren because my daughter and her husband were away at a conference, and they couldn't wait until my daughter and husband came home because they would rat me out. They couldn't wait because my daughter would say, "Did Grandma take good care of you?" And then they would rat on me until she burnt the waffles, she got lost taking us to the movies, and stuff like that. And then my daughter would say, "But she took good care of you, didn't she? You're alive." And well, yeah, but they were kidding. Everybody was kidding. It was good for laughs. Happiness, if you make it a destination, then you could have a long time waiting to get to that place. Happiness should not be a destination. It should be a journey. You should experience it in increments as you travel through life. Photographs are very important to me because they are my memories, and I grew up with photographs being important. I have a Japanese pottery collection that has a story behind it. That's important to me. Oh, my books that I've written. I don't know that I have anything else. I think my parents were short on advice. Back when I was growing up, it was more warnings about strangers. Eating something cold will make you sick. Things like that. To this day, if I eat mayonnaise, salad made with mayonnaise in the summertime, I think I hear hear my mother's voice. Don't eat mayonnaise in the summertime, it could be spoiled. I am fortunate. I have always had friends, more than one, and as a youngster I couldn't pick just one in particular. Typical in some ways and atypical in other ways. Strong-willed, strong-minded, butted heads with mother and others because I was, I guess, coming into my own at that time, thinking for myself for the first time in my life. As, as far back as I can remember, I always had a boyfriend. We didn't have gadgets, we didn't have social media. We had a little bit of bullying, but nothing that you have like you have today. We had little money, we didn't do too much. We didn't have too much, and we weren't allowed to talk back and to our parents. And it was their way or the highway. I was always, my career, I had to find it myself. I knew I was destined for something else besides filing and bookkeeping. And I found it by going back to, or starting college in my 30s. And my original goal was to eventually earn a PhD in psychology. My biggest accomplishment, I guess, I'm torn between two things. One is having my daughter. I have one child. And the other thing is earning a master's degree and going on to a career that keeps on giving. These are the best years of my life. My first romantic relationship. At what age? Because my first one, I think I was 11 or 12, and the boy bought me a little Valentine of candy. He was in my class, he walked me home, we ate the candy on the way home, and then he kissed me at my door. Very simple. But future relationships were more serious, obviously. And how has it changed me? Now, I am more cautious, and I don't think well, then again, that's just me. some people need to have a relationship or be with someone always, and that is not the case for me at this time in my life. Having my daughter fulfilled me in a way that I had never been fulfilled before. And having one child was difficult in those days because people would make disparaging remarks, and my comeback was, you can't improve on perfection. Why I don't have another child. Having a child did not slow down my career. Having a husband slowed down my career. And responsibilities of being a wife at that time. Yeah, you had to make the roast beef and bake the potato and iron the undershorts first. The aspect of my life that is better now than ever before is that I only have to answer to myself. I am free to be me. Always had to answer to a boss, a spouse, a parent. Always had to answer to someone. I don't have to answer to anyone now. The only thing that is worse now than when I was young, obviously, is that as I grow older, I come in contact with more people in my peer group, and in the last couple of years I've started to lose close friends and acquaintances and so forth. I have two favorite sayings, which are not original, but they have helped me, and I pass them on to others. Don't sweat the small stuff, and you can't put it's not a perfect world, and you can't put your head on someone else's shoulders. And if you keep thinking those two thoughts, you'll have a better life. When I was younger, I picked a number, and it was 78, and I thought that was a good age to live until. And as I entered my 70s, I realized that's preposterous. My life took off in my 60s. As I said, 90 might be not an age to leave this earth, but an age to maybe consider assisted living. Loss, but wrinkles. Definitely wrinkles. Actually, I don't have much free time. I'm involved in numerous projects. I write, I speak to communities and organizations. I'm a treasurer for an organization. I volunteer at a counseling center. I am really busy, and I love everything that I do. I never really thought about being afraid of anything, but I suppose it would be a doctor telling me that I was terminally ill. I guess me first. by thinking in terms of the fact that we are living longer, and if we start winding down and or complaining in our 60s and 70s, we're going to have a long life ahead of winding down and complaining. We need to look forward to something wonderful. How do I keep myself healthy? I try and I try not to do everything that my parents did, and I try not to do everything that I observe everybody else around me doing, because you have a whole population of people who are over-medicated and cheat like crazy. If I could, I would go back to being in my 20s and not getting married at that time. Would I like to be young at this time in my life and have that kind of a life? Maybe I would try Hollywood. No, but I don't know. I don't know. I would like to know that I had more years ahead of me at any age, not necessarily to be young. I would like to have been taller, thinner, with long flowing hair that moved when I shook my head back and forth. No, there are no do-overs in life, and I think you have to make peace with whatever you were given, or whatever you achieved, or if you didn't fulfill yourself or reach a goal, you have to substitute something else or just forget about it. I think in general, honesty about how you feel, honesty about what someone expects of you or wants you to do, and you need to speak up if you disagree. I'm sure there is, and I may include some of those things in my next book, but I will not be revealing them now. After I retired, I had the time and the inclination, and I had 7 journals that I wrote as part of a psychology assignment. I started with one journal when I returned to college from my master's degree, and the one journal for the assignment turned into 7 journals, which is my memoir, Writing Solo, My Journey Through Love and Madness. For years I languished in a marriage that was both gratifying and frightening, never knowing when I would be elevated to great heights of ecstasy or plunged toward the bowels of hell. Writing Solo chronicles a journey through love and lust, disillusionment and deceit, and ultimately survival. And when riding the merry-go-round from hell, it is imperative to understand that we are neither Sigmund Freud nor Harry Houdini, Our loved ones may lose the way, even if the path to salvation is brightly illuminated. And that's writing solo, and followed recently by Villa Paraíso. Villa Paraíso reveals the secrets and lies hidden behind the gates of a resort lifestyle community located on Florida's Gold Coast, and it is not your garden variety revelation. Is it possible this microcosm of society is a fool's paradise where residents have yet to learn one of life's greatest lessons? You can run, but you can't hide from your past. And the most important lesson of all, you can't hide from yourself.